I got a lot of great feedback from last week's episode. A little departure from the norm, having my wife come on and just like completely focus on catching up with her after an 11-day road trip. It was fun. It was exciting for me. And I just felt like I wanted to share a little glimpse into our relationship with you guys. And I'm so thankful that you enjoyed that. So, after Stephanie and I got caught up, I shared with you guys last week what I was no longer going to tolerate. If you have not listened to that episode, go to the episode right previously before this one and go have a listen. And I invited my best friend in the world, Ray Edwards, to have a listen to that episode. And I said, hey, after you listen to that episode, let me know if you'd like to talk to me about what I shared there, because it may have seemed like a little bit of a departure from what I've been going after over the last 2 years. So with that being said, Ray Edwards, welcome to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Thank you. As always, it is my honor and my privilege to be part of your show, to be part of your life.
Absolutely, man. I tell you what, a lot has changed since you and I last saw one another. I don't know if you noticed that, but I mean, like, I am a completely different person than the last time you and I saw each other face to face, which was just like less than 2 weeks ago.
Yes. I laughed out loud when Stephanie said, have you changed that much in 11 days? And I thought, oh, has he ever? Yes.
Wow. Well, and Ray, I got to tell you, I really appreciate the invitation to come be a part of your community, the event that you hosted. And oh my gosh, what I learned about myself and the greater sense of clarity and discernment of exactly who God created me to be, the superpower that he has blessed me with. Like I know that some people would get freaked out, but like I would say an anointing to be able to perform or do some act in the lives of other people that is supernatural. I know that you get that, and I just freaked out a lot of people in my audience, but that's okay. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I felt like it was such a gift from you to me and the people who came to the event. What you did was remarkable. How you spent so many hours talking to people. And I mean, I saw it. I don't know if you realize how often I saw you talking to someone.
I never saw you once see me talking to people.
I could see, well, because you were focused on the person you were talking to. That was one of the most remarkable lessons I learned at my event, was your ability to be present with one person, even though there was a line of people waiting to talk with you. And I have not counted, but I have had numerous people thank me for having you at the event because they had a conversation with you that changed their lives, which sounds like hyperbole, but I mean, I can see the evidence already in how they were conducting themselves, in the actions they had taken, in their attitude, in the overall spirit that they exuded. And you taught me the importance of going to any event with the heart of serving other people. That's why we're there.
That is why we're there. And, I listened back to my conversation with Stephanie this morning because I wanted to make sure I don't want to like rehash everything that I said last week in this conversation with you. And as I was listening to it on the way back from the store this morning, by the way, today's Stephanie's birthday, and I went to the store to grab her some flowers and stuff like that for when she woke up. So on my way back from the store, I'm listening to the final part of it, and I said, the thing is I didn't go there with a sales mentality and a sales mindset. I want to set the record straight, okay? I do want to set the record straight because while I didn't consciously mean to deceive anyone, I listened to that statement and I'm like, wait, that's not necessarily true. I did go to your event and Giovanna's event with the intention that I wanted to make sure that I walked away from that event with no less than 10 people who would sign up for Free the Dream Conference from each of those events. And that was, before I left to go to Franklin, Tennessee, that was an objective that I had in mind. So I did go to this with the mindset. And by the way, I don't say that as I feel guilty or that I feel ashamed of that. It doesn't demean who I am or anything like that. But I will tell you that my perspective of why I was there had shifted in the midst of those conversations, because it became very clear to me a lot of those people were, I mean, I met a couple that came from Canada. I met I met several people from California, and it became very clear to me that the likelihood of 10 of these people choosing to go home, spend a week, and or spend 2 or 3 weeks and then travel all the way back to Franklin, Tennessee to come to my event, that may be within the realm of possibility, but for me to do that, I'd have to actually go into hardcore sales mode to make that happen. And it became clear to me that that's not what I'm supposed to do here.
Well, first of all, selling is serving, so I don't
Yes.
think there's any conflict. And secondly, here's another thing I learned from you. When I got started in the seminar business, I was taught that it's wrong to go to somebody else's event and recruit people to come to your event or to sell them anything at all, because this is what I was taught, you're stealing from the person who assembled those people together. And I thought I had expunged all of that dirty, foul, erroneous mentality from my mind, that scarcity thinking, that poverty mindset. And then when I noticed that you were talking with people, this is me being totally transparent with my best friend in the world, I thought, is Cliff selling? And I immediately recognized, ooh, I don't like what just came up inside me. That's not me. I believe in abundance. And I began praying that you would sell as many tickets as possible and that you would have people want to join your mastermind, because we live in an abundant world. There's endless prosperity for everyone. And if I can do something to help facilitate that for anybody, I want to do it, because there's more where that came from. So that's another lesson I learned from you at the event.
Well, I appreciate that.
You added so much value. I've heard from numerous people that this is how they said it to me. One of the benefits I got from your event I didn't expect was the coaching I got from Cliff. Thank you so much for providing that. And I'm just like, well, you're welcome. Cliff provided it, but you're welcome.
Well, I will tell you, by the way, the reason why I felt that I had the permission to come with that mindset is because of an episode that you created yourself just weeks before the event that was published that says, here's how you can come and make 6 figures by attending someone else's event. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to follow what Ray said. I'm like, boom. That's why I was, but the thing is I did, but the thing is my mindset did shift. And again, I don't apologize for wanting to sell. I do believe that selling is a worthy pursuit. It is a great career, and it's a godly one. I mean, selling is nothing more in my mind than convincing other people to make a decision that's going to add value to their life. And so whether I'm selling somebody like my wife on marrying me 23 years ago, I think that was a pretty good sales job, Yeah. So, and then, yeah, anyway, you get the idea, but yeah, so thank you for that. And I'm thrilled, and I appreciate your honesty. Cause the thing is, I can tell you that those kind of thoughts come to my mind every now and then. It's like, oh man, this or that. And I did have one person who signed up for your high level mastermind group. And he's like, and Cliff, I'm really interested in yours. And I'm like, that's wonderful. But here's what I will tell you. Mine is not available to you unless you're going to participate both in Ray's and mine. Mine is not available. It's not an option for you unless you believe both of us could serve you in uniquely different ways, because I'm not taking that away from Ray. And by the way, I would never take on a client who made a commitment financially to somebody else for a year and then reneged on it because they found something different.
Likewise.
So, I'm like, yeah, anyway. And the other thing we both know is that there are some people who are uniquely going to resonate and receive value from one person's style of coaching and all that other stuff. So there's no way that at my event, I can meet the exact needs and method of teaching and hand holding or encouraging for every person at my event.
Right.
That's not possible.
Exactly.
So what I'm saying is, friends, if you want to come to Free the Dream Conference and you want to build relationships, you want to connect with people, find those people that you get a sense that what you have to offer would add value, and build and invite them into a coaching experience with you. And then if they end up being clients of yours one day, I might actually see you doing that in a line of people. And I may also initially think, what the heck do they think they're doing? And I might have to have my own gut check and say, God bless them just the same way you've blessed me.
Because we all have patterns of thought and behavior that were trained into us from the time we were children, that even though, I mean, I feel like I've come so far from scarcity and poverty thinking to abundance thinking, but those old patterns are triggered and pop up every now and then. And the beautiful thing is we have the opportunity to rewrite the script. We get to run the program. The program doesn't have to run us.
Speaking of scarcity mindset, I thought that I had gotten rid of scarcity mindset in my life, Ray. I really did. I mean, you know, back in the days when I used to have a difficult time feeling guilty about charging people $50 an hour for my consulting and podcasting back in the day. And I'll never forget the time when I wanted to change my rates from 150 to 200, and everybody in my mastermind group says, no, Cliff, you have to go to 300. And I'm like, there's no way people wouldn't pay me that. Not only that, okay, that's not true. I do believe there's a few people, maybe there might be 7 people in the world. That's an exaggeration. I know there are plenty of people, if I went out and found them, that would pay me $300 an hour. But man, if I charge 300, then I'm not going to be able to serve the people that I feel most called to serve, which basically what I was saying I mean, in hindsight, I know what I was saying. I don't feel worthy of working with those high level people because I don't feel qualified. I feel like those people are way too successful for me. And they play life at a different level. And so I'd rather work on, and this is a terrible thing that I'm admitting. I'd rather work with people who play the small game because I feel like I'm better than them and I have more to offer. I'm embarrassed to say those words out loud, but I'm an authentic, transparent person. But that's how I used to think, Ray. And go ahead.
Me too.
Okay. So the one thing I will tell you is that, you know, over time, I've obviously been able to bump up against the thermostat of my upper limit challenge of financial comfort. You know, I got to the place where, yeah, I'm comfortable making $500,000 a year in my business. I really am. I'm comfortable doing that and working 25, 30 hours a week, you know, and quite frankly, I got to the place where, Ray, I was comfortable making about $300,000 a year in only 6 hours a week.
Yeah.
And I was doing it, but something happened. I thought that it's like, man, I thought that the scarcity mindset was over. But then all of a sudden, I started pursuing a dream. I started pursuing a vision. I started pursuing it, but I began to prioritize things in a way that, quite frankly, I didn't realize was costing me dearly financially. My family did. I mean, it literally cost us financially. I've shared this very openly in a podcast called The Audio Journal. I've shared this very openly in my mastermind groups. I've shared this very openly in lots of other places. But the Cliff Ravenscraft Show has not had this level of authenticity yet. And so I'm going to bring it to the table and share it here. And what I will tell you is that in pursuing the mastermind group at $1,000 a month, 2 different groups with 12 people each, that'd be $24,000 a month. I got to the place where I started that in November 2017. And at the same time, I knew I wanted to launch that mastermind group. And I also wanted to launch Free the Dream Conference that year. And I also wanted to do weekend workshops in my studio, which I had already done. You know, my weekend workshops were generating somewhere between $24,000 to $32,000 a weekend. And I was the idea that I'd do one of those a month. I'd do Free the Dream Conference once a year, and I would do my paid mastermind groups. And the cool thing is the focus at first was my paid mastermind groups because that's recurring revenue. That's I consider recurring revenue to be the holy grail, because you don't have to go out and hunt and gather, AKA market, for new clients consistently ongoing, right?
Yeah, you're not starting every month at zero.
That's exactly right. So what happened was it took me a while. It took me about 3 or 4 months to fill up my mastermind groups. And I got it to where I was at I can't remember if I was at 21 members, or if I believe there was one point where I had 2 groups with 12 members in each, and it might have lasted for 1 or 2 months. But I was at the place where, let's just say it was 24, and I was at $24,000 a month recurring revenue at $1,000 per month per person. And what happened for me was that I'm like, okay, that's set. Now let's focus over here on Free the Dream. All right. Now I don't have to worry about where's the money coming from. Now I can focus everything on Free the Dream, which gave me about 4 months to focus on Free the Dream, thinking, oh, this is going to be easy. Because as soon as I started the marketing for Free the Dream, I instantly sold like $32,000 in tickets in 4 weeks. I'm like, oh, there's no way this isn't going to be profitable. Well, the thing is people had been hearing about Free the Dream since September of 2017. So there was built up demand of the people in my community who already knew. And then all of a sudden, after that initial rush, Ray, crickets. I mean, I'm talking like 2 or 3 tickets per month started coming in. And I'm like, what the heck? And the other thing that started happening there, of course, the Next Level Mastermind was relatively new. Even though I'd done some mastermind groups in the past, I really didn't have the distinctions at this level, who I should and should not allow into the group, or who should be invited to participate. So there were certainly some people who outright lied to me about whether or not they could afford it. And that was not fun. There were some people who had told me about the steps that they took in the past that, quite frankly, it's like, well, if this is the kind of steps you've taken in the past and you've achieved this, well, then certainly I know for a fact with what I will teach you, you're going to see this. And the thing is they may or may not have taken those steps in the past, but I can tell you right now, they were not taking the steps we were discussing afterwards. And as a result of that, they weren't getting results. And quite frankly, they couldn't afford. It's like, and so people were dropping. And the thing is I'm like, listen, I'm not going to ask you to continue to pay. I know you made a 12-month commitment, but dude, you need to go get some things straightened out. This is not for you. So what happened is, while I'm actually marketing Free the Dream, my recurring revenue, it went 24K a month, 21K a month, 18K a month. And by the time Free the Dream came around, the 2 months leading up to Free the Dream, it's 13K a month. That's 7K a month less than my minimum that I need for my business. So that's 14K in the hole before the month before Free the Dream. And then, it's 6K a month. And when it's all said and done, Free the Dream, I think I've shared this before, Free the Dream 2018, overall P&L just for the event itself, it cost us $66,000. And we generated $60,000 in ticket sales. So we were $6,000 in the hole. And if you put it all together, add up all the recurring revenue that was a loss, thinking that's not a big deal because I'm going to make up for it in the profit from Free the Dream, that didn't happen. Free the Dream 2018, the pursuit of trying to get 300 people there, the pursuit of putting all of my marketing, everything into that, cost us $38,000 because I was focused only on marketing Free the Dream, and I had this belief I should not market my Next Level Mastermind and this. And not to mention the fact I have these proven workshops that I could make $24,000 in a weekend, but I did not host any of them because I felt like I shouldn't host a live event here, and then because that would take away from the marketing of the live event in Franklin, and vice versa. And so the potential, of course, opportunity cost of not doing those is well beyond 38,000. But let me just say, I know I'm focusing a lot on the dollar figures, but then I think about the amount of impact and influence in people's lives. What was the cost there? And this is where I got to talking about that thing last year, Ray. Well, actually, I'll come back to that. I want to come back to the opportunity cost of the impact and influence in people's lives, because there's no doubt people who were at Free the Dream last year, the 87 people there, every life was impacted. Mine, Ray, you were a speaker at the event. Let me ask you this. Was your life changed at Free the Dream last year? And I want you to give not Cliff Ravenscraft's best friend answer, authentic, Ray would never lie, in the name of Jesus right now. What is your response to that question authentically?
Yes, my life was positively impacted. And I'll tell you specifically one of the ways in which it was impacted. There's two things I want to share about this. Number one was I saw the physical manifestation of a man who took a stand, cut off all options, shut down his entire business, and created a new business, a new marketplace identity from zero, and was able to get a room full of people, bring in $60,000. I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but if I had told you 5 years ago you're going to do a what some people would call a self-improvement seminar, and you're going to bring in $60,000 in ticket sales.
And by the way, somebody from France, somebody from Germany, and people from all over the United States.
What would you have thought if I had told you that 5 years ago?
I'd say you're crazy, Ray. That I could never do that.
It was amazing. It was inspiring to me. It was, I mean, it blew me away. And the second thing I want to share with you was I had a deep regret. My deep regret was I did not schedule time to get there before the event and be there after the event and be there for the whole event, which I have corrected for Free the Dream 2019.
That is so awesome.
So yes.
So the thing is definitely everyone, and my favorite remark was Mark Macy. It's like, I did not come to the event prepared to see the grown men crying. That's one thing that's my favorite. And he says, and I'm actually talking about the people you hired to do the video production.
Mm.
I mean, it was crazy. So let me tell you, everything I'm about ready to say, I do not regret Free the Dream. Free the Dream was the right thing for me to focus on last year. It caused me to fail in many ways that I'm so thankful I failed in. So thankful, because I learned from those failures lessons that I don't think I could have learned if somebody just told me in a one-on-one coaching session. There are some of those failures I had to feel so deep inside that, wow, that's going to make me so much more powerful as a coach and a mentor to people down the road.
Yes.
All right. So the thing is, though, Ray, Free the Dream 2018, major success in my mind, major failures in other parts, just because I had some messed up beliefs about financial things. So financially, major failure for me personally, for my business, and for my family. But here's, I got to say some things here. By the grace of God, I've never gone into debt since I started in January 2008. Wow. By the grace of God. Even in 2008, when I made only $11,000 net personal income, by the grace of God, we never went back into debt. And by the grace of God, not only did we not go into debt as a result of that $38,000 loss, but Ray, I'm also embarrassed to tell you that I've known for years that I should be saving for my kids' college, and I didn't. I'm embarrassed to tell you that, when it came time for my daughter to go to college, part of me is like, I think college is a waste. And I'm sorry if people disagree with me, but I really do believe that, unless you want to be a doctor or something that requires specifically what you're going there to get. Other than that, I still personally believe it's a waste. But man, I was really bummed when my oldest daughter said, I want to go to college. I'm like, oh, come on. And I'm embarrassed because financially, a lot of that was my thoughts and feelings, not my thoughts and feelings about the value of college. If you don't know why you're going, those stand regardless if I have $1 million on hand to pay for it or not. The reality is I still have something, but my own feelings were also very heavily weighted by the fact that I did not financially prepare for this. And the thing is my daughter's like, I want to go to college. I said, well, you can go to NKU, which is right down the road. It's 25-minute drive from our house. You could live here. It's in-state tuition. It's $10,000 a year. We'll buy all your food and you can live here. Housing is free. So I will pay for you to go there. She goes, okay, Dad, but I'll keep that under consideration. And she goes traveling. She goes down to University of Kentucky, which is $30,000 a year. And she goes to Western Kentucky, which is $20,000 a year. And I said, here's the deal. I'll pay $10,000, but if you go to Western or you go to UK, you have to come up with $20K a year on your own. Or and by the way, I will not give you the $10,000 if you borrow any of your side of it.
Mm.
And then Western Kentucky University, I said, I'll put up 10K. You have to come up with the other 10K, and I'll help you. I'll teach you how. And by the way, I can put you in contact with people who'll teach you how to do it, and you can get all scholarships, all completely paid. You won't have to go and work and earn a dime to do it. Well, she never took action on any of her part of it, but she signed up and went to Western. And by the grace of God, Ray, not only did we pay our 10K, but we paid for it last year. Mm. In spite of the fact I was $38,000 in the hole, God still gave me the opportunity to do some wild and crazy things to generate income to meet the needs that were presently in front of me. Not recurring revenue, but I worked a lot and I made things happen by the grace of God. So the thing is, though, is Ray, after Free the Dream, obviously I was like, that hurt. Financially, that hurts. And I hired Rusty to come in and help me with some sales copy. Rusty Ryle, by the way, amazing copywriter, Ray Edwards certified.
Yes. I just spent a couple of days with Rusty at our mastermind meeting here in Spokane. And what an amazing, not just amazing copywriter, but amazing, powerful, encouraging man of God, family man. I love that guy.
I love that guy too. I've been in contact. He and I chatted back and forth on Voxer a couple times this morning. Anyway, so I hired Rusty to come in. He wrote some sales copy. He says, Cliff, I'll help you out. I'll help you fill those mastermind spots. And over 30 days, Ray, in under 30 days, over the course of 30 days, we created a sales and marketing copywritten campaign. I've never done one of these before. So I've never done a actual sales funnel / campaign because I've never wanted to write who's got time to write those emails? Not me. All right. Well, okay. I do. I just don't want to. So anyway, Rusty wrote all this amazing copy. And guess what? I added 6 new mastermind members within 30 days.
Huh.
That's $6K of recurring revenue. And by the way, they were the right people this time because I've learned a lot of new distinctions about who's going to fit and who's not going to fit, all that other stuff. I learned not that I learned all of it. I'm still learning. But the thing is I'm fairly confident. It's like, yes. In the same 30 days, Ray, I lost 5 more members. Mm. See, the thing is I started November 2017 is when the mastermind started. And one of the things that one of the questions everybody asked is, how long is my commitment to be in this group? I know it's $1,000 a month. I said, well, I ask you to make a minimum of a 1-year commitment. My hope is that you'd never want to leave, but if you want to leave, you're in for a year. Well, 5 people dropped out after their 1 year. So I net 1 new person. And let me tell you, I did a lot of work. I mean, by the way, Rusty did all the heavy lifting, but I did a lot of work. I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, creating 1 hour, 45-minute videos, 30-minute videos, 1 hour videos. And they were powerful videos, but it was a lot of work. And I had to send out all these emails and I had to field all the questions and I netted 1 new person. And Ray, this is where I say that I share all of this to say that I slipped back into a scarcity mindset. I wonder if I'm worthy of $1,000 a month. Mm. I mean, some of these people that just dropped out after 1 year, I hear their words. They're saying, Cliff, you changed my life. I've made 3 times the amount of income that I could have ever dreamed possible because of this group. I'm now moving on. And by the way, these people are close personal friends of mine. These people, and I genuinely believe, I know when somebody's blowing smoke at me. I do. And 3 of those 5 people quite frankly, I mean, they were paying me $1,000 a month, but they could easily attribute $4,000 to $5,000 a month, like minimum, that they would not be generating today had I not coached them through the mastermind process in that year. And I'm like, how could you leave? I mean, I was like, I'm hurt. Authentically, I'm hurt. And of course, it's my fault for being hurt because I had this expectation. My model of the world was somebody comes in, they double, triple, or quadruple their income, they'd never leave. I've readjusted my model of the world now. But so you know, I you know, when what is it, what is it, when the world does not live up to your expectations, I'll trade my expectations with appreciation. Tony Robbins quote, something like that. So anyway, the thing is that hurt. And so what happened was, Ray, I started thinking, should I offer a different group? You know, and by the way, I did. I launched a third group of the Next Level Mastermind. This is the first time I'm publicly going to say what the price is, and I'm embarrassed to say it. As a matter of fact, I've already told the group, of group 3 of the Next Level Mastermind, I'm embarrassed that I invited you guys to be a part of this group. I have done you an terrible injustice by inviting you to be a part of this group. Those are the words I spoke to them.
Wow.
Here's the deal. I said, I'm creating group 3 of the Next Level Mastermind. It's $250 a month. It meets only twice a month, 90-minute meetings. And the reason why I did that, Ray, is because I felt like, well, number one, if anybody decides to leave, when I get that text and says, hey, Cliff, can we have a chat? I don't have that sinking feeling in my gut. It's like, oh, crap, there goes another $12K of income this year. Mm. And I'm like, at least if it's like, okay, well, it's 250, I can replace that. It's like, that's my mindset, Ray. Who is this guy? This is not the Cliff Ravenscraft of 2019. This is not the mindset answer, man. And so if anybody was wondering how on earth was Cliff Ravenscraft, how did he lose focus on his eating habits and go all the way back up to 221 pounds and do episode 595, It's Confession Time? It's because every waking moment was trying to figure out this financial crisis that I put myself in. And I was suffering almost as bad as 2008 with a scarcity mindset. The only thing is my thermostat of finances was set at a different temperature than 2008. You know, my thermostat was set at 20K, whereas I think in 2008, my thermostat was like 3K a month. So the thing is the dollar figures are different, but the mindset, I slipped back. I'm not worthy. I'm not qualified. You know, maybe I did the wrong thing. And Ray, you know this because you and I had personal conversations. I almost launched a self-study version of Podcasting A to Z because I knew I could generate $500,000 this year.
Yep.
With Podcasting A to Z. And it was on my schedule to actually do it through the month of May or June. And I almost did it. But it was because of a scarcity mindset, because I felt it's too darn hard to get people to pay me $1,000 a month to be in a mastermind group. And I haven't proven to myself, other than 12 people who have been in it since the beginning and are still in it today, which is over 2 years now. I know what you focus on is what you feel, but I wasn't focused on that. All I focused on was the people that left. All right. So all I'm focused on the people that are dropping like flies. And I'm like, I'll just build up the 250. I'll work myself to the bones and do 12 meetings a week or what. I'm being, you know, I would never do that. But the thing is, but I do know I can make $500,000 there this year as the podcast answer man. And I almost did it, Ray, until I got the Rodecaster Pro that sits behind me and probably sits right in front of you.
Now that's interesting to talk about why that made the difference.
So I got the Rodecaster Pro and I got really excited about it. And I did an entire episode of the audio journal talking about it nonstop, like for 2 episodes in a row. And then I did a Facebook Live video the day that I got it. And in that Facebook Live video, I pulled out all of the boxes of all the 7 or 8 different units, the $2,000 worth of gear that I was now going to eliminate from my studio with this one device. And it was about a 30-minute video. And I took the recording of that and put it on my YouTube channel. And guess what happened next, Ray? I spent hours and hours. I probably spent 15 hours over the next week answering people's technical questions related to the Rodecaster Pro. And it killed me inside.
Because you thought, here I am back doing that again.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And it was keeping me from having the impact and influence in people's lives. So the thing is that I was really struggling. And then Chris Pavone introduced me to this book here. It's called The Prosperous Coach. And I read this book and it began to radically shift my mindset about coaching. And I got to tell you, the first time listening, I listened to the audiobook first, and I was hearing Rich Litvin say, man, I never spend less than 2 hours with somebody on an initial call. And I'm like, you're insane, dude. That's crazy. And by the way, and those people haven't paid at all and may actually never end up being a client. And yet he's saying that through my method, I don't charge for the first coaching experience, and I never spend less than a minimum of 2 hours with someone having a powerful coaching conversation with them. I'm like, that's insane. I could never do that. But I was like, well, maybe I could. And then all of a sudden I realized I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to do 2 hours, but I'm going to do a couple 90-minute calls. And Ray, I learned something about me through all of these interviews that I was doing to promote Free the Dream this year, all these podcast interviews. I started to understand, after having to explain the Free the Dream message to, I don't know, 6 people a week for 3 weeks, that's 18 people. 18 one-hour conversations expressing the Free the Dream message to 18 different human beings. That changed me. Mm-hmm. And the thing is after a 1-hour conversation, Ray, I have people who said, Cliff, I'd love to have you as a guest on my show. And I spend 1 hour on their show. And what people don't know is that I spend another 30 minutes afterwards, and some of them are my coaching clients now. How can I work with you, Cliff Ravenscraft? How can I hire you? How can I experience? How can you teach me how to never eat sugar again so that I can get off the metformin, so that the doctor will get off my back about losing the extra 80 pounds or I'm going to have a heart attack? How can I work with you as a coach, Cliff? I'm like, what? Seriously? And so I began to offer these coaching experiences with people that I felt like God was giving me this sense in my heart. The Spirit's telling me, Cliff, that's somebody that is going to be a great return on investment for you. Not just financially working with you, but it's going to be an amazing return on investment in your impact and ripple effect in the world. You're going to not just change that person's life, you're going to change the whole family tree of that person. And I'm like, wow. And so I started having these 90-minute coaching sessions. And what I will tell you, Ray, is I've been actually recording these and I've been sharing them with people. And at the 60-minute mark, some of these people want to be a prosperous coach themselves. And so I'm teaching them some of the things that I'm learning. I said, what do you think about that whole idea of Rich Litvin? It says you'll never spend less than 2 hours. And they said, that's crazy. I just don't have time for that. I said, well, let me just say something to you real quickly. Right now, we're 60 minutes into this call. How do you feel about the call? It's been great. I said, you ready to go deep now? I said, we got 30 more minutes left. I'd like to ask you a question. Let's put everything we've discussed in a box and put a lid on it. Nothing we've discussed up to this point matters at all. I'm going to ask you one question. What do you really want? And the next 30 minutes of their life changes everything. And I've learned that I cannot do what God's given me the gift to do in 60 minutes. in a 30-minute interview. And I will tell you, Ray, I will never spend less than 90 minutes in a conversation with somebody who really wants to experience transformation in their life.
Say that again, because what you just said is so important, exactly the way you said it. Say it again, please.
I don't know that I can, but I will try. There's no way that I can exercise fully the gift that God has given me to perform the transformation that people seek in less than 90 minutes in conversation. Deep, authentic, distraction-free conversation.
Yes, that is so good, because what you can do in 30 minutes is manipulate and back people into a corner and get them to behave in a certain way. It takes more time to relate, to have a true conversation, to really get at the heart of what they need. That's so important. And you're making an investment that, and I know this about you, it doesn't matter to you if they don't spend money with you after that's over.
Does not matter. Because the thing is I'm going to get here's what I will tell you. I've been doing the Prosperous Coach Method since July, the second week in July. It is now August 10th. So it's been a month. All right. And I can tell you right now, I've already done 2 to 3 90-minute calls with people who very likely may never be a paid client for me. But I've got significant return on my investment in multiple ways. Number one, I've improved and honed my skill as a coach with every 90-minute session I have with someone. That's number one. Number two, every person I've spoken to for 90 minutes has come into the call as one human being and left a completely different one.
Yes. Yes.
And they're going out into the world, and they will have a ripple effect as that new person who now understands they've changed their belief about who they are and what they're able to achieve. And they'll never be able to operate in life in the same way that they did before, because the limiting beliefs that they had previously are no longer possible for them to ever speak out loud or ever think to themselves without understanding that that is a bold-faced lie.
And that is Cliff Ravenscraft in a prosperous mindset, not limited by scarcity thinking, because you see if they never pay you $1, you see the return on investment you got as it really is. That's amazing. That's been an example to me. It's inspired me. And this may take the conversation in a way you're not ready to go yet, but I'm curious beyond belief to understand the bombshell you dropped at a deeper level on your previous episode, where you talked about not continuing the aggressive marketing of Free the Dream when you had so publicly stated your commitments, which were outrageous and inspiring. I'll admit they inspired me.
And obtainable.
And totally doable. Yes.
Totally doable. I have everything within me to do exactly what I said I was going to do.
So how does a more prosperous way of thinking about life, a more abundant way of thinking about life and business, how does that lead to you saying, I'm going to stop the aggressive marketing of Free the Dream?
Well, here's one thing I can tell you. What if I actually did continue my aggressive marketing, which, by the way, I have, hold on, let me just flip this thing over here. I have 33 days until Free the Dream, Ray Edwards. 33 days, and currently there are 104 people signed up that will be attending Free the Dream conference. That means I need 196 people to buy a ticket in 33 days for me to meet my goal of 300 people minimum at this event. Ray Edwards, is that doable?
I have absolutely no doubt you could totally do that and more.
And more. And if I were to achieve it, do you know what that would do for me? It would certainly boost my ego. That would it would certainly boost my financial situation in a powerful way, at least for, I mean, let's just say at an average of $1,000 per ticket, that'd be $196,000 more profit this year.
$196,000 here, $196,000 there, always handy.
It's nice to have on hand. It certainly would pay for the remainder of my daughter's college in cash. Just saying. But here's the thing. So it would take care of that financially, and stuff like. But let me just be realistic about what it would take for me to actually achieve that. At least with my current mindset, my current frame of who I am, my current the current level of the team that I have supporting me, aka zero. Um, the current level of my knowledge of marketing live events, I believe I could totally pull that off, Ray. And to be able to generate that $196,000 in sales, to be able to generate the extra 196 people that convince them to come to the event, my current belief is that I would probably have to invest 60 to 80 hours a week every week until Free the Dream.
Mm.
Now, I happen to know that from a coaching perspective, if I were on the other opposite end of me hearing that, I would say, is that a limiting belief, Cliff? And I would say, probably. Why do you believe that? And then, I'm just saying, Ray, we all have limiting beliefs. And that's my limiting belief right now.
Yeah.
All right. And I could argue all of my excuses of my experience over the last 2 years of marketing this. It's like, what does your past always equal your future? Couldn't you shift something in a moment and make a decision and shut down certain things and do things that would generate that in maybe 2 hours a week? And it's like, well, let's explore that. But the thing is it's not a priority. It's not even a priority to make that shift right now. And here's why. It came as a conversation with Michael Hyatt. And so I kind of briefly alluded to this. And Michael Hyatt invited me out to dinner at the Stony River Steak Restaurant in Franklin, Tennessee, which, Ray, we've got to have a steak together at Stony River. It's amazing.
Yes, I've eaten there. It is amazing. And I definitely plan to have a steak with you there.
Awesome. So the thing is probably only, we probably were there for about maybe 2.5 hours. And the conversation that I alluded to in last week's episode and the conversation I'm alluding to here, it was only about 10 minutes of the call. He goes, Cliff, do you mind if I give you just an outside perspective of what I see from my end of your pursuit of turning Free the Dream into this event that fills stadiums with tens of thousands of people? And inside I'm like, inside my heart saying, no, I don't want to hear. But I'm like, yes, I do. I'd love to hear anything that you have to say to me about that. And I'm thinking, he's like, dude, get over yourself. That's an ego thing. But and the first question he asked me is like, what do you think you would get? You know, what would that do for you if you got that? And at first I tried to explain like, well, I would have the feeling of the tens of thousands of people's lives that I was able to impact and influence and all that other stuff. And I said, I guess I'd be crazy to try to tell you that there's nothing about my ego and my sense of, and my desire and my need for significance. You know, I think that would be inauthentic. So I'd say there might be some things inside of me that wants to pursue fame. That it'd be nice to have tens of thousands of people who came to an event that I hosted. Yeah, and the more I started speaking these words out loud, Ray, I realized it's actually I had been lying to myself. My pursuit of growing Free the Dream to 300 immediately, and then when I didn't do it the first year, doing 300 again the second year, and then aggressively growing this thing to where it's 300, then maybe 600, then 1,000, and then 2,000, and stadiums by 2025. I realized, and this didn't all come out in the conversation. Michael Hyatt is like, Cliff didn't say any of that. But what happened over the next several days as I continued my road trip down to the Thrive Summit with Giovanna Ellison, and on my drive back home, God had many conversations with me. But it became very clear that I told myself a good story that Free the Dream and tens of thousands of people in stadium events, that my primary motivator was impacting and influencing people's lives, when in reality there were two. It'd be nice to generate the amount of income that would generate, and it would be nice to have the fame that would generate. That's authentically the truth, Ray.
And how did that make you feel when you realized that?
It made me feel terrible and out of alignment with who God created me to be. Because I realized, and Michael Hyatt did actually say something to me. He didn't tell me. He asked me. He asked, and I don't know if this is all paraphrasing. I mean, it was a 10-minute conversation like 2 weeks ago almost.
Right.
All right. So I'm just going to paraphrase what I just recall in my head right here. Cliff, how much impact and influence are you having in the lives of people who attend a 2.5-day event? He says, and by the way, I'm not questioning whether or not people's lives are being impacted. And so I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks. And the reality is, Ray, there are people who came to Free the Dream last year, and some of them were well-prepared soil. They received the message, and it sprouted amazing results. Like they've done more in the past year than they could have ever dreamed doing, than they've done in the last 4 to 6 years. All right. I've got testimonials to back that up, stories. Some of them will be on stage to tell their story this year. It's incredible. But the thing is I'm very connected with that community. There are people who, quite frankly, they heard the message and it started sprouting up and weeds have started to choke them.
Mm-hmm.
But quite frankly, it doesn't matter how many monthly Zoom calls, I can't be the gardener that comes in and pulls out all the weeds that are growing up to try and choke them back out.
Right.
And so I'm not having, I'm having a bit of impact and influence in a few people's lives, but overall, did every person come away a different person than going in? Yes. Had Free the Dream that weekend changed the trajectory of their life? Absolutely. Some of them actually have never thought of what their dreams were prior to that weekend. Now they have a dream. And chances are, because of that weekend, if they never do anything else with me or never attend another one of the events, it's possible that that dream could come true for them within the next 15 to 20 years. Some of them knew what their dream was, and because of what happened to them, they got rid of some stinking thinking. I don't know why I use that, because I'm not a Zig Ziglar guy. But I think that's a Zig Ziglar quote, isn't it?
It totally is, yes.
Okay. So I just hear all my friends get talk. It's like they got rid of some of the old belief systems and they've developed some new belief systems. And because of that, what would have taken them 15 to 20 years is only going to take them the next 5 to 10 years. I had that impact and influence. But Ray, so he says, how much impact and influence do you really have in the lives of people who come to your events, Cliff? And by the way, if it's 100 people that come to your Free the Dream conference, how much impact and influence do you have in your lives then? And do you think that impact and influence maybe potentially could diminish with tens of thousands at the same event?
Mm.
Ooh, that one stung.
Yep.
That one stung.
I felt that.
How many people could come to that event and never shake? No, how many people could come to a 10,000 person event and never shake a person's hand, never feel the embrace of a hug of another human being, and never come in physical or even eye contact with any one of the other 49,999 other people at your 50,000 person event?
Well, yeah, because one of the easiest places to hide from people is in a crowd of thousands.
Yes. Now, by the way, does that mean I want to avoid stadium events? No. And Michael Hyatt says, listen, Cliff, who knows? You may actually end up doing stadium events of tens of thousands of people. But is that your priority is the question? Or is your priority influencing and impacting people's lives in a deep way? And when I got to thinking about that, Ray, I thought about all these 12 to 14 person workshops. And the people who came here where I got to break bread. Well, okay, I eat keto now, so we don't do that anymore. We share a nice, healthy keto style menu. No, I'm just kidding. You can have bread if you come to my events. I just won't break bread with you. I'll break it. I'll give it to you. How's that?
Perfect. Then you can still say you're breaking bread.
There we go. But anyway, people come to my workshops for a day and a half, and we have 3 meals together. You're in my home. You ask questions at any point. I'm not on a stage for 45 minutes or an hour speaking to you without your ability to stop me at any moment. No, you can stop me at any moment during any session of this workshop and ask me questions specifically as it relates to what your problem, what your belief is right now. And we can steer the whole thing. And Ray, I've had people who've come to this and their dream, they knew what it was. And Free the Dream might take their dream from 15 to 20 years to 5 to 10 years. I've been able to take people through a weekend workshop, and I've literally seen, I've got like 80% of them, what they thought was going to take 15 to 20 years, they're doing in 3 to 6 months or 9 to 12 months. Realistically, authentically, that is happening. That's impact and influence. And then where's my biggest impact and influence? And by the way, have I been marketing any of those events? No. Why? Because Free the Dream's the priority. Wow. And then where, and what's the difference in impact and influence in people's lives in a powerful way when I consider those weekend workshops compared to what? Mastermind groups, where they have access to me for 90 minutes every single week. And they're in community with other people who are right there alongside them. And every day we have Voxer chats back and forth. It's like a nonstop 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, ongoing community mastermind group that is always uplifting, always encouraging, always pushing you forward. Dude, things that people thought would never happen in their life are happening within 90 days.
Yeah. This makes me think about an interview I read with Billy Graham, who obviously achieved massive success, spoke to stadiums full of tens of thousands of people, had enormous influence with influential people. And he was asked, if you could start over, what would you do differently? And he said, I would find 12 men and I would invest deeply in their lives.
Yes.
And I would teach them how to find 12.
And there's somebody else who we may have heard of that turned the world upside down. And by the way, Michael Hyatt spoke those exact words to me at that dinner. It was part of the 10 minutes.
What?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
And Ray, since then, I've been investing in small groups of people. And I have witnessed the transformation in front of me, things that, quite frankly, I have a couple of them that are available that they've asked. They said, Cliff, if you want to share this, I'm fine with you sharing this with the world. And I could show you some videos of me doing a 90-minute coaching experience with someone. And remember years ago, Ray, I told you I went to Tony Robbins based upon your recommendation. And Tony does these things. I don't know what he calls them, but he does these transformations or interventions, people who have all kinds of whatever's going on in their life.
Yes.
And spend 2 or 3 hours at an event, literally working with one person out of the entire stadium.
Yep.
And within that conversation, that person may have been suicidal at the beginning, but full of life, and the trajectory of their life will forever be changed afterwards. And they've done studies and documents and they've documented that these people literally experience lasting change for the rest of their life. From that day forward, their life was never the same.
Mm-hmm.
And remember what I said, I want to do that.
Yeah, I do remember.
And that's my life today.
That is inspiring. And that is true influence and impact. And there's a shift that happened in your mindset. I don't know if you're aware of something you said on your last podcast episode, the one you did with Stephanie, which, by the way, just as a sidebar, I loved that conversation between the two of you. One of the reasons I loved it so much is because I know that's how you are together all the time. That there was no artifice, there was no show being put on. You were just being the two of you. But you said something. You said, I'm trying to think I can't think of the exact words, but you said something like, I have total confidence that I'll make $1 million in this next year, or words to that effect, which is a shift from you were comfortable making $300,000 or $500,000 in a year. And to me, it's not about ego or avarice for the dollars. It's about confidence in the impact you're having and the value you're giving and the value that will come back to you in return. And to me, that's indicative of a deep shift in your identity and your belief about who you are and what you're doing.
Thank you. You know, Ray, some distinctions have come as I've been working with coaching. And by the way, I'm very open to coaching a whole wide swath of individuals. You know, if somebody has been struggling, 80, 100 pounds overweight, and quite frankly, they realize the numbing of their toes and fingers means that they might get the feet cut off in a couple years if they don't change things. I'm happy to work with those people through these transformative 90-minute coaching experiences. I'm happy to work with those people. I'm happy to work with a whole wide number of people. People like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of actually, as a father, fighting with my children because every time they come to me, I don't think of them in a loving way. I'm sick and tired of thinking, oh, great, how much is this conversation going to cost me?
Oh.
And by the way, that's Cliff Ravenscraft, much of my parenting life.
I heard you.
And I'm willing to work with those people, but you want to know what God is really laying on my heart? People who have been in ministry, specifically pastors, who have been in ministry serving, coaching, transforming people's lives on a salary of $20,000 to $35,000 a year, who have maybe on the side been working as a firefighter for the past 20 to 30 years, or some other career to just put food on the table. And they're working between their pastoring and ministry work and their actual career that pays the bills. They're working 60, 70 hours a week when it's all said and done. And quite frankly, they're still in debt. They haven't saved for their kids' college. When their son falls and breaks his elbow, the first thought is, oh my gosh, is he okay? It's like, oh, crap, that's going to cost me.
Oh.
Ray, I happen to know that those people with so much experience, life experience in the workplace because of the firefighting or the police officer job or the school teacher or the janitor or the business owner or the landscaping company that they have so much life experience. They have so much family experience. They have so much coaching and mentoring and consoling. They have so much funeral and marriage and premarital advice experience. These people, Ray, none of them should be making less than $10,000 a month every single month of recurring revenue with their own mastermind groups.
Yes. Absolutely, yes. Those are the individuals who have trained and practiced the hardest on the most difficult cases of coaching, and they've mastered it, and they've been fooled into thinking in such a poverty-stricken, scarcity-minded way that they're trapped and they're burnt out, and some of them are cynical and jaded and hurt. And I love what I'm hearing you say, that you're going to free the dream within them.
Yes. I'm gonna get them out of that mindset that says Christians will never pay for this. They expect it for free. The people that I want to serve can't afford it, which, by the way, I will help them come around to the idea that everyone can say this sentence with full confidence if they really evaluate it. I always have plenty of money for everything I truly want.
Yes.
It's God who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. 1 Timothy 6:17.
Yes.
I'm going to help them break free from the feeling of overwhelm that comes with charging $1,000 a month for a mastermind group, where quite frankly they're going to go from making $60K a week, working 60 to 80 hours, making $60K a year, to making $120K a year with one stream of income that takes them no more than 3 to 4 hours a week of their life. so that they'll be free financially to pay off all that debt, so they can pay for that college, pay off all those medical bills, so that they can actually start giving in ways that they feel led to give to the people around them, so they can buy cars for their neighbor's friend or whatever. I mean, it's just like crazy what they could do. And they'll be able to have time to spend with their family. They'll be able to go and experience vacations around the world, seeing this great gift, this rock that God gave us to live on. That's what I want to do.
This makes me so happy. I have a friend who is a very successful entrepreneur. He's a believer. And he said, he was talking to me about money one day. And he said, you know, the reason I want to make so much money is because I want the ability to say yes. And I said, so what do you mean by that? And he said, when my church says they need a new oven for their kitchen, I want to be able to say yes and write the check. When my kid's school says we need somebody to go on this trip with the kids and it's like 7 days and you can't be working. And he said, I want to be able to say yes. When I have a friend who has a broken down car, they need a new car, I want to be able to say yes and just write them a check, get them a car. I want to be able to say yes, and never again do I want to have to say no because I'm limited in my resources, because I believe that's not true.
Yes. I love that. Ray, I'll tell you, my life has changed since I discovered, I mean, it's not any one thing. It's not just the Prosperous Coach. It's not only a conversation with Michael Hyatt. It's the combination of everything that I did wrong in my priorities over the last over the last 2 years. Which, by the way, I'm happy with all the things the way they happened. I mean, I believe they were meant to be. God allowed it. He's been orchestrating things beyond my wildest imagination so that I could come to the place where I am today.
Well, if we didn't have these adversities and these mistakes and these learning experiences, we wouldn't be able to share to help other people. And I know you believe this as well as I do, that life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. It's up to us to realize that and look for, how is this happening for me? And you're a great example of that. And I want to share with you one thing that is important. I wanted to make sure I shared this during this talk we're having. In the mastermind group meetings that I had 2 mastermind groups that met here in Spokane this week, one Monday and Tuesday, one Thursday and Friday. And in both groups, at least a half dozen times, I heard people spontaneously say out loud, they'd say some limiting belief, they'd stop, they'd say, wait a minute, if Cliff Ravenscraft were here, he would tell me that's a limiting belief. And I saw them rewire their belief without any help from me because of something they heard from you. That is the result of influence and impact that you have had.
And I anticipate, for as long as God allows air to fill my lungs, I anticipate I will continue to do conferences like Free the Dream. In fact, Free the Dream, in my mind, will continue until the year I die, maybe beyond, who knows? But as far as I can see into the future, I always want to do Free the Dream. My wife and I want to do the Thriving Marriage Conference. But here's what I will tell you. Those will never take priority over our smaller live workshops. Smaller groups, individual attention, individual confronting of limiting beliefs one-on-one. That the live events, the big conferences, even the stadiums, if it ever happens, and I think it will be unavoidable, it's no longer my goal. It's a vision of my future that I feel certain that it's magnetically pulling me.
Let me tell you, it's an overflow of the work you're doing with the small groups and the individuals.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I feel, that this new perspective is like, those will never be my priority. My priority, it's the live conferences is at the bottom of the priority list. Live workshops are next on the list. And then beyond that is my mastermind groups. And then my one-on-one coaching.
Yes. And your one-on-one
coaching go deep.
Your one-on-one coaching is deep. It's powerful. I'm going to show you something now. Since I haven't tracked this every day since we had our coaching session, I wish I had, but when I started tracking it, I want you to see visually
Habit share. It's all green, brother.
It's all green. It's all green. And every day I thank God that I had the courage to come to my best friend with my dirty laundry and say, these are the problems I'm having. I need you to coach me. And a huge part of that for me, I thought about the saying, a prophet is not without honor except within his own hometown. And I thought about the fact that the people who had the toughest time believing in Jesus in his day when he walked the earth were the people in his own hometown, because the familiarity with him killed the honor they owed him. And when I decided to have you coach me, I realized I had almost passed up that opportunity because I was so familiar with you as my friend that I almost passed over the honor that I owed you for the work you do. And I checked myself before I wrecked myself, to pick up another Zig Ziglarism. And I contacted you and said, I need you to coach me. And it's had a huge impact that I know has changed the rest of my life and my family's life, changed my family tree. I thank you for that.
You're welcome. And Ray, I thank you for that, because I will tell you, I received as much blessing in my life by being able to participate. And it fulfills me well beyond any paycheck I ever get from any of the coaching I do. And yeah, so thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being honest and vulnerable. And thank you for being authentic and evaluating some of the words that we spoke with one another.
Absolutely. And just for the record, folks, ketogenic lifestyle, I've never had more energy. My thinking is clear. I've lost over 10 pounds, which was not the goal. It's a side effect. It's an outpouring of being healthy. So if you're considering that, stop considering and start doing. I'm kind of an evangelist for that now. So,
and mine would be seek the advice of a medical professional who does actually study and know and believe in this stuff, and hire a coach. Matter of fact, I'll tell you about my friend Kevin Davis. If anybody wants a ketogenic coach, I have a member of my Next Level Mastermind. He is an absolute expert in the area of ketogenic diet, especially for women who have gone on the ketogenic diet and they desperately do want to see the weight loss, but because of their hormones are not seeing any tangible results on the scale, though they are actually just as dedicated and committed to the ketogenic lifestyle as somebody like me who's lost over 35 pounds in the last 3 months.
Wow.
And by the way, that I just described my wife, and she would not be mad at that I told you that. And she has hired Kevin as her coach, and they're getting blood work done so that she can actually modify. And by the way, get this. One of the things that, because of her stage and where she is in womanhood, one of the things that he's going to probably end up recommending to her is what's called carb cycling. So she will actually have days where she's intentionally knocking herself out of ketosis to be able to achieve her results that she desires.
What's his website?
His name is Kevin Davis, and I will edit out the long pause here. Actually, no, you know what? Let's just keep talking for a second while I do it, because I don't want to edit anything, because I want to share the video of this on my YouTube channel and everything. So talk for just a second, and I'll find this for you.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I've been listening to Dr. Rhonda Patrick's podcast called Found My Fitness, and she's an expert in nutritional science and high performance, and she shares a lot of medical studies. And I just heard an episode where she was talking with an expert about what they refer to as the cyclic ketogenic diet, which is what you're talking about, going through cycles of total ketosis and then cycling in some carbohydrate consumption for specific reasons and the benefits of that. So it's interesting that you bring that up.
Yep.
I'm fascinated to know more.
Thank you so much for filling the airtime there, Ray Edwards. It's almost like we've done this professionally before.
It's almost like that.
All right. So by the way, I don't think he'll be mad. I'm going to give you his email address. It's Kevin Davis, PAC@yahoo.com. So I think PAC is the title for a physician assistant or something. Is that right?
I think that's right.
He's a practicing physician assistant. So this guy does have his medical credentials, and he's an expert. So Kevin Davis, PAC at yahoo.com. That's his email address. Put in the subject line of your email, referred by Cliff Ravenscraft. Just put that in the subject line. By the way, he does have a website called ourketogeniclife.com. Ourketogeniclife.com. I think he has a membership program that may or may not still be open. I don't know. If you desperately want to become a part of his membership program and it's currently not open for enrollment, email Kevin Davis, PAC at yahoo.com and say, referred by Cliff Ravenscraft, and put, I know you're not taking in new members to your ketogenic membership program, but is there any way I can get like a Cliff like back door into this thing? I don't know if by the way, I don't know that he will, but maybe if he gets enough requests, he might. And if he doesn't, email me, Cliff at cliffravenscraft.com, and I'll twist his arm for you.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you for reminding me to share it. Because here's the other thing. That's the thing I want to do for my mastermind members. That's the other thing about this, Ray. Oh my gosh, when I'm focused on actually charging people what my services are worth, I can actually invest in them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I do.
I was like, and by the way, the next level mastermind group, I just got to share a couple of things because I think it's all apropos to this. Number one, since reading The Prosperous Coach on the first week in July, since going through that book, I've added 7 new members to the Next Level Mastermind at $1,000 a piece. Our recurring revenue is currently sitting at $19,500 per month. Wow. So it's all right. It's just $500 shy of recurring revenue of what our minimum need for all income. Now the thing is I still have all these other things that I do in my business that generate revenue that aren't recurring. All right. So and by the way, I have 8 90-minute coaching experiences currently scheduled over the next 2 weeks. And I would say at least 5 of those people will be mastermind members within 30 to 60 days. All right.
So that your recurring revenue will more than cover all the income needs you have.
Well beyond. And my mastermind group is no longer going to be $12,000 a year or $1,000 a month. I have 3 spots that I will fill at that old rate. And as soon as those spots are full, if anybody drops out of that group or they join the brand new group that I'm going to start, it's going to be $25,000 a year or $2,250 a month if you choose to pay monthly.
Yes.
And the thing is I'm serious about people who want to escape that 60 to 80 hour work week, making $60,000 to $70,000 a year, and who are serious. And I truly sense within my spirit that you have all of the qualifications to be a prosperous professional coach, making a minimum of $120,000 a year with as little as 4 to 6 hours a week of your life.
I'm so excited for you.
That's who I'm serving. So excited, brother. And because of that, I'm able to jump on a call when somebody says, you remember when I wanted to do my very first next level workshop, and I'm like, will people pay $1,000? Will people come to my work? And I'm like, Ray, I can't send this email. And I had to jump on a call, and you had to give me a pep talk, because I had limiting beliefs. And you're like, Cliff, they'd pay $5,000 for this. Send the email. And I'm like, 25 minutes later, okay, I sent the email. That's 25 minutes of your life, but I needed that hand holding. And the thing is what was crazy, another thing, Ray, is while I'm aggressively marketing Free the Dream last year, I found that while before focusing heavily on marketing Free the Dream, I was always somewhat engaged with the members of my mastermind group through personal connections, like little personal videos, text messages here and there between the meetings. That happened for each person. It happened at least once a month, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month. But man, during the 4 months leading up to Free the Dream 2018, I was non-existent outside of our weekly meetings. Maybe that had something to do with some people leaving. I don't know that it would. But the thing is man, now that I know where my focus needs to be, and for me, to protect the financial security of my family, I need to make sure that I am actually charging the appropriate amount so that I can invest in the individual at the level at which I feel I'm going to need to show up in their life.
Yes, exactly. That's
Wow.
exactly right.
It's changed everything. And I want to share one last thing, Ray. And that is, because I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, it's like 20K a month minimum recurring revenue. Anything less than that, that's a part of my history. You know, that is my history. It is not my future. And I know there's going to be, there's this song that I played at the end of last week's episode, the amount of blessings that are going to fall down on me. I don't know if you ever, did you go and look up the rest of that song? It's like 8.5 minutes long.
I did not go look the rest of it up, but I loved that. I love that music.
It was amazing. And so that's how I truly feel about my future. And get this, all right? So not only, I am absolutely committed that the entire second year of Western Kentucky University will be paid in cash by the end of this calendar year. All right? In cash. Not only that, but my son has been driving around my 2003 Toyota Avalon. And quite frankly, when you go and press the gas pedal, it hesitates a lot and then kind of kicks in and stuff like that. It's not really a great car for him to be trying to accelerate onto an expressway ramp, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
I'm absolutely committed. I want to purchase him a reliable, nice vehicle for him to be out driving on the road. That's the next, actually, that's actually a priority right there with my daughter's college. Not only that, but my son just turned 18. He graduated high school this year, and he's wanting to start his own business, and I'm helping him through that. But here's the thing. He's like, Dad, you want to know what I want for my birthday present this year? And I'm like, what? He goes, I want to go to Colorado to this Dota 2 esports gaming event. I just want to go and watch this tournament, and it's 10 days long. And I'm like, awesome. Can I go with you?
You can't see this. I'm actually tearing up because
I said,
the ability to do that.
So here's the deal. He sat down here, Ray, it was just this past week, and get this. What are the dates of the event? And the first thing I did is I wanted to buy him the VIP, the most expensive ticket. Unfortunately, they were sold out. So I got him the next most expensive ticket, which he was like, oh, Dad, are you sure? I'm like, yes. All right. Well, next thing we do, we research our flights, and delta.com, I booked us both first class airfare, single flight, no nonstop to and from Colorado. I next booked us a very nice hotel. I booked us an amazing rental car. I think total cost of this 10-day trip, just financially, is right around the realm of about $6,000 cash. And get this, I will not schedule a single coaching experience during those 10 days. I will not have, the only thing I will do is during those 10 days is facilitate the mastermind group calls that I'm already committed to facilitating. I will do that from my hotel room. The rest of the time, I will be living in my son's world.
That is so beautiful and inspiring.
I could not have said that had I not shifted my focus off of aggressively trying to attain everything for Free the Dream. By the way, if I aggressively did everything it would take to fill Free the Dream to 300 people, I would not have added the 7 people to the next level mastermind that I've already added, and the next 5 that are going to join within the next 30 days.
I'd say your priorities are in order, my friend.
Ray, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for allowing me to have this conversation. I knew that it would be drawn out of me in a powerful way through a conversation with you.
Well, I feel privileged, and I just enjoy talking with you.
Awesome. Well, with that, my friends, no call to action. That's it. No call to action. I don't need it. Those of you who want to work with me, you know how to get in touch with me. Until next time, I encourage each and every one of you to take everything you do to the next level.